Hey there, welcome to 34 Living Podcast. I'm your host, Tory.
And I'm your host, Leah. We're so excited you're here. This is where faith, good stewardship, and real community come together.
Every Monday at 8 a.m., we share stories, practical tips, and advice for living intentionally with Psalm 34 in mind.
Our podcast is rooted in Psalm 34, verse 8. Taste and see that the Lord is good. It is a reminder to experience the goodness of God in every part of our lives.
So grab a cup of coffee, get comfy, and join us on this journey of growth in faith and life.
And as we dive into today's episode, we'll also share our BTS. That's behind the scenes, which stands for balancing, thankful, and simplifying in our lives.
Hello.
We are back.
We are back. It has been a while.
It has. I don't even know when our last one came out.
Seriously, which is really poor on our part, but we're determined to get back into it.
My part, for sure.
Well,
Let me look.
It's just, do that right now. It's just difficult sometimes, but we need to steward this a little bit better. What? Oh no, your face.
October 28th. Wait, no. November 18th. Okay, I feel a little bit better.
Okay.
November 18th.
I was going to say,
Okay, so not that bad.
November.
Yeah, November 18th. But we're back. I promise we'll be better.
We have our act together, but thank you for your patience nonetheless.
Yes.
Okay. Well, as always, we'll do our BTS and then we'll jump into the episode, which I'm really excited to talk about this one because it seems like this is a conversation we talk about almost daily in our voice memos. Yeah. So I'm sure we're not the only ones that struggle with it.
Yeah, we won't give it away too much yet, but we're always talking about what is work? What is life? How do you do the two? Why do we do them? How do we do them well?
Hey,
all the questions.
So you do it one day and then you go to bed and do it all again tomorrow.
Yeah, it's crazy.
My goodness gracious. Okay. Well, do you want to start with your B?
Yeah, let's get into our BTS. So my B, I know I always talk about the house, but December 13th, which was this Friday, was like our tentative closing date. We were so excited, packed our whole house. We're like ready to rumble, shopped like crazy for Black Friday. And we still have no electricity, no floors, nothing. So it's definitely getting pushed back. And that's just kind of been a harsh reality and just accepting it, even though our current living room is full of boxes. So I guess don't you always say that, Leah? Don't put the cart before the horse, or the horse before the cart.
Say that.
How does it go?
Yeah. Yes. Don't put the cart before the horse. Yeah.
Yeah, I definitely did that, and now I'm kicking myself. But it's hard. No one told us that like the date was changing or anything, and I'm not going to get into details, but it's just kind of been a hot mess. So definitely balancing the emotions that come with that. I was so excited, and now it's just not happening right now. So the Lord's timing is definitely better, but it's just kind of hard to see that. So that's where we're at.
As we always talk about, patience is a virtue, but
I have none.
Way easier than done for sure. And it's just been such a long time coming. And like you had an end date in mind, like you saw the light at the end of the tunnel, and then, oh goodness, it's all going to work out. It always does, but
exactly,
it still doesn't make like this time any easier.
Yeah, but soon.
Okay.
Yes.
My B is I am traveling for work this week. So someone was asking me like what I do for a living or if I'm, whatever. And I said that I work from home, and they said, do you travel a lot? And typically my answer is like, I'll travel every quarter. But recently, every month I've been somewhere else. So I think this is my last kind of like bout of traveling for a little bit. I want to say this year, but literally this year ends in just a couple of days. So I'm traveling this week. It'll be just a short trip. I'm looking forward to it. We have some Christmas festivities, so it'll be good. And then a lot of the remote team is coming in too. So people that I work with daily but don't always see. So I'm looking forward to that. But as I always say too, when I was traveling before Preston and I got married, it was just me. I just had to pack up a bag and off I went. No responsibilities necessarily. But now there's a husband and there's a home to tend to and there's a puppy and just things that need done just to make sure I'm just not leaving. So just kind of preparing these next couple days to balance my trip, I guess.
Yeah, so much, but it'll be fun.
It will be fun.
Leah's heading to DC, and I'm like dying. I want to go see her.
No, well,
I don't know if it's
closing on the 13th.
I know. Maybe. Potentially, but we also were like just there.
It's not funny.
No, trust me, we totally would, but we were just there, and we're going.
Yeah,
right
that's
back.
True. That's so true.
So That's kind of annoying, but
Right. That's a lot of like back and forth. Yeah.
yeah.
Makes sense. Next time. Next time.
Yeah. We'll get it. Yeah.
Okay.
Well, yeah. My tea's kind of related to that. So
I was
yeah,
gonna say.
obviously, yeah, we were just up north for Thanksgiving, and then we're heading to Paris, France for Christmas and New Year's. So
Yes.
that's really exciting. But yeah, we have to drive back up to Northern Virginia to like fly out and all that, which is fine. But super thankful for the trip and just the opportunity to even be able to travel. Me and
Absolutely.
Ethan love traveling. So I'm glad that we have the means to do so. But I'm really, really excited. I've been to Paris, but he hasn't. So it'll be a fun trip for us too. And Paris is the city of love, so
Ew,
it's gonna be so romantic. I'm really
love
excited.
it.
And at Christmas time,
I
like,
was just gonna say you picked like a perfect time to go.
yeah, it's so cool. I keep watching all these videos of, like, things to do, Christmas markets, all this stuff, and I'm like, "Oh my," because I went in spring, so very, very different,
Right.
but I'm excited. Yeah.
No, it's going to be so, so, so good. Like Christmas
Yes.
and New Year's is just a fun time to begin with in the States, but going
Exactly.
international, oh, it's going to be so wonderful. And like you said, so romantic. Oh, I'm just so excited. I can't wait to see
Yeah,
all the pictures.
I know, it's gonna be so good. So, yeah, that's what I'm thankful for. What
Yeah,
are you thankful
absolutely.
for?
So mine's definitely a little bit more silly compared to Tori's, but
No.
so Keston and I are Aldi shoppers, and if you don't shop at Aldi, I would highly encourage you go. Tori has heard all about. Well, no, you like Aldi too.
Yeah, I didn't
Yeah,
used to, but Leah converted me.
exactly. So anyway, we were walking through the aisles, the Aldi find aisle, and I think I let out a bit of like a shriek or a shrill, and I saw the advent calendar, and so Caston and I got two, and it's been so fun just to wake up in the morning and like Caston said this morning, let's go do our advent coffee. So we went out and did our coffee, and it's always a surprise. You don't know which one you're going to get, and it kind of makes like the mornings a little bit more, I don't want to say enjoyable. That sounds brutal, but it's just something
Something to
special.
look forward to.
Exactly. So I am thankful for that. Just like the small things in life, even if it's a cup of coffee. But it's been really fun. Yeah.
I love it. I'm still on my pumpkin syrups. It's because it's so big and only I use it, and
And
so
like you don't want
I'm
to.
almost done, almost done.
I know.
I love
I
pumpkin,
do.
but I love
It's
it.
so.
Every time Leah tells me what flavor she and Cassie try, and I'm just like, "That sounds really
It's
good."
super
Like,
interesting.
but it
Today
sounds fun.
at mine, our Caston got vanilla and I got cinnamon roll.
Okay, those sound good.
Yeah.
Sometimes you say someone, I'm like, "That
I
does
know,
not sound it."
not super great, but
But vanilla and cinnamon roll sound pretty good.
it's fun nonetheless. Okay, enough about coffee. I'm going to go want to brew myself some more.
I
What is
know,
your
I had a large this morning and I want more,
seriously?
but
No.
it's okay. Simplify. Yeah, I think, again, also related to the house. Sorry to bore you guys. I promise come January, if we're moved in, I won't yap about
You're
it.
going to pray for the move-in day.
So my simplifying is the way that we're packing, and I don't know if I want to say simplifying or cutting corners, but when I moved from our townhome to this apartment before, where we are right now, I was so psychotic. Like, I labeled each bin, I made sure everything was super good and just like well organized. This was going in the storage unit, this was coming to the apartment, like the whole 9 yards. But now I'm like, it's all going to the same place, it's all going to get rearranged. So just throw it in a box and let's go. So again, maybe cutting corners, not really simplifying, but it's been like way less stressful. I feel like I packed everything up much faster this time.
Sure.
So that's
It
simplifying.
makes sense. I mean, and really, yes, we try to do it all organized and neatly labeled, but it's going to end up in the same, like you're
Yeah,
going to get it to the house and then you're going to have to unpack it. Yes, the
exactly.
process now might be a little bit more messy, but the end result will still be the same.
Exactly. It'll all have a place in
So,
6 to 8 months
oh,
at this rate. I'm kidding. We'll be there soon. So
my
yeah.
goodness,
Yeah.
too
It's gonna be
funny.
good. What's your S?
My S is the month of December, which sounds a bit strange considering that we're almost halfway through it. But I've always heard that the holidays and when you get married can be a little bit sticky, and how are you going to do it? What does your month look like? So I guess I've just really been trying to get a grip on the month of December and what do our weekends look like and where are we going to be, and just being intentional with our time when we are home. So that's what I'm trying to simplify and just really hopefully take a break, kind of unplug for a little bit and just not be so go, go, go all the time. So that is what I'm trying to do. That's what I'm trying to simplify. So far, so good. I mean, yes, it has been busy, but it's been a really good couple, I guess almost 2 weeks in December, which is crazy.
Yeah,
It's
December has flown
flown
by.
by, right?
Like I feel like it was just December
And
1st.
that's what
And
I
yeah,
was trying to think back to. I'm like, when was December 1st? And yeah, it's just gone by so quickly. And then I'm also really trying to get myself in the Christmas spirit. I don't know, like that Christmas magic, I suppose, but it's fun nonetheless. It's been a good month so far, so I cannot complain.
yeah.
Yeah.
Actually, I feel like that's like a perfect segue in today's episode. Two things that come to mind. So at church on Sunday, Falwell was talking about Christmas and how Christmas is so different because we're so busy. And now it's like I'm working and I have to like worry about Christmas on the side. And like Christmas has become so commercialized
Wow.
and like less childlike, like you and I were talking about literally the other day. It was so good. You should go listen to it. But yeah, I think like, today's topic's obviously work-life balance and just like what that looks like. And I think Christmas is definitely a time where it's like I want more life, but I also have a lot of work because the year end is coming. And then with that life of like Christmas is more of like gifts or which in-laws do we go to or how do we please everybody or what should I get this person and that person? And it's like that's not what Christmas is about. So I think just like reframing what Christmas should be about, even reframing what our daily life should be about can kind of help alleviate that like work-life balance that we all crave, if that makes sense.
Absolutely.
So
That's really interesting. I'm going to have to go listen to the sermon. It sounds really good, but it's so
it really
true.
was.
And I was thinking when you were talking about working and Christmas, like, kind of like on the side per se, you guess like take PTO off for, some time with your family. And it's like, is that really what it's supposed to be? It's just kind of, it's different. It really is. And
Mhm.
it is hard to get it all done and balance it. So hopefully our conversation today can be inspiring. Maybe we can offer some words of wisdom, I would say, how to navigate the holidays. Right? And then we will do our verses and ramble, bamble about
Yeah.
why. Okay,
All right.
I'll pray. Okay. Dear Lord, thank you so much for today and just the opportunity to have yet another conversation with my dear friend. I'm just so grateful that you give us this space, and I pray that we would steward it wisely. I ask that this conversation would be honoring and glorifying to you and help our listeners. And it's something that you speak so clearly about. That we will kind of struggle with. And I just pray that our lives would be a reflection of your kingdom and that we would share the Great Commission and be salt and light here on this earth.
Amen.
Amen. Perfect. Do you want to do
All
your
right.
verse first?
Sure.
Okay.
Okay. So the verse that I decided to speak on, I don't know, talk about today with you guys regarding work-life balance is going to be Exodus 29-10. And it states, 6 days you shall labor and do all your work, but the seventh day is a Sabbath to the Lord your God. On it you shall not do any work. So I'm putting this one as like a lesson to myself, but also something that we've tried to implement and are trying to implement lately. Obviously, we both work and have lives and are building this house and other ventures that are trying to take off and just so many different things, and obviously taking care of your health and the dog and this and that, traveling, so many things that are just like constantly nonstop. But we really tried or are trying to just like take a day a week, whether that be Saturday or Sunday, kind of depends on our week, to just like not do anything and just chill and kind of unplug and try not to do too much work. Obviously, we're not just going to sit like a bump on a log all day because we literally can't, but try to like not open our laptops or not talk about work or just try to put the bigger, heavier things kind of down in a way. So that's something we're definitely trying to work on. But I think we can all share the same thought that like taking a true Sabbath is quite hard.
It is so difficult. And it sounds, I don't want to say innocent in a sense. It's like, oh, okay, take a day to just relax. But good luck. I mean, because if you let it, like the day fills up itself and you don't even have to try to fill it up. It just, things need done, whatever it looks like. Even if it's not work, per se, the house needs clean, laundry needs done, meals need prep for the week. You need to go to the grocery store, whatever that looks like, planning for the week. And so to really put that stuff aside just for a bit, again, like Tory said, it doesn't even have to be the whole day, but it is difficult to just set aside a couple hours and just be. And I would like to speak to this for a little bit myself. And I'm even hesitant to like say it out loud, but like sometimes if I perhaps like not catch cast and resting, that's not what I'm saying, but if he is like still for a period of time longer than I would want him to be, I get very angry. And I am working on it because he deserves the rest. Like he deserves time to just chill for a little bit. But I am just I'm certain I can speak for Tory. just such a go, 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 do. Like there's always something to be done, no time to waste. And that is not a good attitude to have. So I am struggling with that one. And I'm saying it out loud for accountability. But I know Tory, recently you took a Sabbath, which I'm so glad you did. And you shared that with me. And I'm like, I am so proud of you for doing that. Like you really needed that time just to be still.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I can totally relate to like what you said about being angry or not wanting to stop and just like, why are you stopping? It's just so hard. And I find that even to like, I get angry with myself, let alone with others. I'm just like, yeah, I'm taking a Sabbath. And we watched the Polar Express yesterday and maybe like YouTube. I don't even remember. So like maybe like 2-3 hours we actually chilled. And I was like beating myself up. And I know we talk about this all the time. It's just like, why are you resting? Why aren't you doing something? Why? You should be doing this. You should be doing that. Or let me at least brainstorm. Or let me open the laptop. Or let me check an email. And it's just
The
like,
rabbit
no,
hole.
like just shut it off.
Yes.
Like it's not gonna go away or miss an opportunity. Like there's always Monday morning. But just really like telling ourselves that and telling other people that, like, no, just stop, don't work. It's hard,
It's so
but I
true.
totally can relate. Yeah.
And you bring up an interesting point. Like there will always be a Monday morning or a Tuesday morning. We easily get caught up and we talk about this a lot too. Like you work so hard throughout the day just to do it again tomorrow. Just to
Yeah.
go through the same thing again tomorrow. And that can be so monotonous. And it's like, what is the point of all of this? I really have no idea. The only answer that I continue to come back to is to glorify the Lord. But sometimes I wonder, by golly, if my work is really glorifying the
Yeah. It's hard because, yeah, like you're checking your emails or
Yes.
launching a new website, or I mean, I'm thinking in my terms of work, but like creating a new logo, like you're just doing like the most random things for the most random people. And like to them, it definitely makes a difference. But it's like, what am I doing? Like, is this worthy? Like, am I making a difference in the world? And that makes it sound like we're all just going to go out there and like build orphanages or something. Like, it would be great, but it's hard. Like in your day to day normal person job, like it's hard to actually be like, okay, I'm making a difference for the Lord.
Exactly.
If that makes sense.
It does. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think maybe I oftentimes think about this too. Like, yes, our like making a logo might not be glorifying to the Lord, but just your character behind it or how you interact with your coworkers per se, or your clients or whomever it is, like your personality is for the Lord. That's it.
Yeah.
Any sense at all? That's kind of
No, 100%.
my, I guess, piece in it all, but it can be so monotonous and mundane. And then we always talk about being replaceable and where does our, just, I guess, placing our worth in what truly matters. Goodness, but I guess now's the season in our life when we hustle and just do it.
Can we talk about that? Yeah. I mean, I think I like what you said about like your character. Like, yeah, my job might not be like, furthering the kingdom, but the way that I do my job can be furthering the kingdom. I think that's how you have to look at it. Because, yeah, like at the end of the day, like what you're doing, although it may seem mundane, like you're doing it for someone else. And so therefore you're serving them in some kind of way. But it's hard. It's so hard, especially like, yeah, if you have a routine every morning, let's open the inbox. There's 30 emails in there. Oh, I have to get through them. Once I get through them, it's let's go to the checklist. And it's just like the same thing all the time. But again, you're helping people in some weird way you are. And so it's all interconnected. And I think that's just like how I remind myself, especially like with my company, like that's our whole purpose is to help people and like do things that they don't have time for. And so I think that's kind of like a friendly reminder of like, okay, well, I guess I'm making someone's life a little bit better.
You are.
But
Absolutely. That's such a good reminder.
yeah,
That's what your whole company is about. It's to help
I mean,
others
yes,
grow.
but
Sure. Absolutely.
it's still hard. You're like,
Absolutely it is.
am I really helping?
Yes,
Yeah.
you are. And I will continue to tell you that you are. But yeah, it is difficult nonetheless. And I don't even know if there's any way that we ever get through it. And then another thing that I sometimes think about with work is like working for 40 years, or just
Mhm.
it's like, wow, are we really going to do that for our whole
This never
lives?
ends.
But yeah, it just never ends. And when I kind of get in that mindset, it's like, okay, if I wasn't doing this, what would I be doing? So work is a is a blessing in a strange sort of way. Like life is a blessing. You just have to find like the small little things that help get you through the day.
Exactly. And you're not going to be working the same job for 40 years.
That's true. That is very true.
Well, like we always talk about, like our parents or our parents' parents,
They
maybe like
did.
they did that.
Yes.
But that's just not our generation.
Right.
So it's just not going to happen for us. But I mean, I don't know. Maybe some people would. But I think for both you and I think we're definitely on to bigger and better things. And I think we're going to, in a few years, we're going to be like, whoa, look what we're doing.
Absolutely.
Because of what we did when we were younger,
1, 22 now.
I'm
Happy
22
belated
now.
birthday.
Thanks. It's so crazy. I feel like an old woman, but
Yeah, I think about that. I'm like, wow, I'm 22. And then I have to remind
yeah.
myself, I'm like, okay, you're only 22. Like, give
Yeah.
yourself, don't even think.
Well, like I said, if I die at 88, I'm 1/4 through my life. And if I die before that, I'm even more than 1/4 through my life. So, like, I feel like it's already
That's
downhill
a
from here.
strange way to think about things, but you're
That's
kind
how I
of
thought about it.
right. Wow, one
So,
fourth of our lives.
basically done. That's scary because I'm like, I haven't done much yet.
Oh
Still
my
got a lot to
goodness.
do.
Oh my goodness. Wow. That you really put some things into perspective there. Holy
Mhm.
cow.
Crazy.
Okay, well, we won't keep going on that one. I know we could, but we'll
We're
segue.
just spiraling.
Yeah, right. We do that
What's new?
far too often.
Yeah.
But I will share my verse
Yes.
and we can kind of go back and forth on that one. So mine is Ecclesiastes, which I don't want to say is Tori and I's favorite book. That's not what I'm saying, but we often reference this book. We'll say, oh, we're being Ecclesiastes today, or that's very ecclesiastical, or fill in the sentence with Ecclesiastes, I guess is what I'm saying. So we do talk about this book a lot. So it was interesting, or maybe it wasn't so interesting that I chose this verse, but mine is Ecclesiastes 3, verse 1. And it is, there's a time for everything and a season for every activity under the heavens. And we've heard this verse before. It's a very, I don't want to say common verse, but there is a season or a time for everything. And then the verse goes on to say that there's a time to sow and a time to reap. And it goes on and on about the different seasons of our lives, a season to laugh and a season to mourn. And so I have to remind myself of this verse that there is a season for everything. And right now I feel like Caston and I are in the season to, I don't want to use the word hustle, but just maybe set the foundation. Is that a better, am I explaining it correctly? I guess we are just trying to set the foundation for our life to really build ourselves a successful future, really root ourselves in the Lord first and foremost, get established in our church, and kind of everything falls into place. With that, if you have that mentality, life is busy and it really, as Troy and we were just talking about, never stops. The work, taking care of our home, extra obligations, extracurriculars per se. I always think extracurriculars as an adult are so interesting because in high school or college, you had clubs or different activities, but what do you do as an adult? So the extra things in life, there's only so many hours in a day and it's hard to get everything done. And so I really, really have to helm this verse into my mind that if I'm not doing something or we're not getting it done in the time that I would like to see it done, I have to remind myself that there's a time for it to get done. And if it's not right now, then it's not right now.
Yeah. No, that is so good. And I can definitely relate to the hustling and the foundation and all of that. And I kind of use that as like, this is what makes the reason why I'm doing what I'm doing, if that makes sense. So, like I said, we're building that foundation for our family now so that when we have kids or grandkids, like we're strong in our faith and in our habits and in our values and just like in all the things. So, that's kind of how I like to look at it of just like, yes, it's kind of exhausting and we have a lot going on, but it's so going to pay off in the beginning or
I
in the
really
end.
hope so. But then I always wonder, it's like, will it, or will this just keep on growing and growing and growing? I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, it's definitely going to grow. I act like I know, but I think it's definitely going to grow. But I think some of the things we're doing now or like stressed about now will just be so much easier.
Yes.
We'll look back and we'll be like you said about the house, like, you know, we're going to look back and be like, oh, that was so funny.
Mhm.
Like, Tori was so dramatic. She cried so much about it. Ethan was so upset about it. Like, we're just like, oh, yeah, like our emotions are through the roof about it. And who knows, like, we could be living who knows where in
Yeah.
5, 10 years
So true.
and not So
Again, a time for everything.
exactly. Yeah. That's exactly where I was going with it. It's just like what might seem so big right now and so impossible and so hard is just going to be a funny story.
Hmm.
Like, few years down the line.
Right. And this just came to mind that in these really tough seasons or whatever that looks like, we really have to have a reliance on the Lord because He always knows. He knows where you'll be living in 5, 10 years. But right now, He also knows that this is a big deal for you and you can just go to Him and trust Him. And I'm saying that for myself too. I'm, stressed about X, Y, or Z, you name it. And I'm probably stressed about it. And the Lord knows. But again, He also knows our future. And we, gosh, just can't get so caught up in it. But we do.
Too.
Yeah.
But it's also so hard not to. I said that on Sunday as we were talking about something. I was like, but it's the normal reaction to like get so built up in emotion, like to get stressed or to get frazzled about something. And Ethan's like, just because it's the normal reaction doesn't mean it's the right
Yeah, good
reaction.
one.
And I was like, thank you.
Ethan, don't
But
tell
it,
me that.
yeah, it's true though. I was just like, but it's normal for me to be upset about this. And he's like, but it's not the right thing to feel about it. And I'm just like, okay. But it's true. Like, yeah, it's normal for us to get all frazzled or to get stressed or worried or anxious. But like, again, that's not the right thing. The thing that we should be doing is like relying on the Lord and hoping and trusting in his plan. Obviously, I'm preaching to myself here,
Yeah.
but that's what we should be doing because that's, again, what's normal doesn't mean it's good.
That is, I really like what you said there. Even though it is normal, it might not be the best thing for us. And maybe that can be our New Year's resolution per se, is just having a better mindset about all of these things. Like all of this stuff is out of our control. And we can either sulk in it and be really upset about it and say, I'm not doing this. I'm putting my feet in the ground. I'm not. Or we can complain about our situation. I've always heard people talk about like shifting your mindset to gratitude. And that sounds a little bit interesting to me because you're almost like training yourself to be grateful.
Yeah.
But they say it works. And so maybe we should do that along with our listeners, just like when we get in the thick of life and really upset, anxious, worried, whatever that looks like. Because, well, number one, those feelings are not from the Lord. Miss Gail always said that. She always said, like, if you're feeling anything other than the best, then it's not from the Lord. It's something from the devil. And so we don't want to humor him in any of that. So maybe we should do that together, is keep each other accountable. And yes, we can complain about it to ourselves, but just really trying to like focus on the greater good. Like it could always be so much worse.
Yeah. And I think that also goes back to like we were talking about with work. It's just like being grateful that I have a job.
Exactly.
Yeah, maybe it's not the most fun job in the world,
Right.
or I wish I was making X amount of dollars, or I worked to X amount of hours per week instead of like 80 hours per week or whatever that might look like. I'm kidding. That's dramatic. But like 50 to 60 is pretty realistic. But again, like just being grateful that you have the opportunity to do that, that you're able to provide for your family, and that you use your job to do other things. Like if we didn't have jobs, we would not be able to travel or be able to purchase clothes or like enjoy those little things in life. So sometimes I like to remind myself of that, of like, yeah, I work so much, but then you also like enjoy the fruits of your labor. And like to some extent that's biblical. I'm not saying like go and spend a gazillion dollars on a fancy vehicle, but enjoying the fruits of your labor is biblical. And so I think that's how I always remind myself of like, okay, well, let's go take a mini Sabbath and let's go enjoy something. Let's go do something together. Let's take our family somewhere. And again, without a job, like you can't do that kind of stuff. So that's how I like to like try to remember like, okay, working all these hours is worth it. All the stress is worth it because it will turn into something greater later.
Right. Even the Lord too does call us to work. He doesn't want us to just idly lay our hands by and just be given all of these things. So he calls us to work. But I think our flesh gets the best of us sometimes, and we don't always want to do that. But you make a really good point too, that the fruits of your labor are beneficial, and then we get to reap all of these wonderful things that he so graciously provides to us. And I too have to remind myself of that too. You know, we have this life because of our jobs or our employment or whatever that looks like. And again, if I wasn't working or doing X, Y, or Z, what would I be doing with my time? So, goodness, it's a double-edged sword for sure. I don't know if we'll ever get to the bottom of it because you always hear people say, "Oh, it's Monday again. Oh, it's Monday again." You know. So I think everyone struggles with it, but maybe just rallying along one side and along with each other, and oh goodness, I guess just holding each other accountable to really steward our work well and our lives well. We didn't necessarily talk about balancing life, like how do you do that throughout the day?
Yeah, that's a good point. I don't even know. I don't think we've even cracked the code. I don't know. For me, I think it really is just like, yeah, taking a Sabbath and like having that one day off because I know during the week, it's just like not possible. Like, I'm not going to act like I have it together. It's like work or life or house or health, or like you can never have everything perfect. At least me, if someone can, please share because I personally can't. Like, if I had a really busy week at work, like, we're going to have pizza on Friday night, or maybe 2, 3 times a night. Like, we're just going to throw something in the oven versus like exercising. I haven't done that in months because it's just been nonstop. Like, I just can't get everything always in order. I'm not going to act like I can. So I don't know. If you have advice, please share. But I feel like it's always just like one or the other. But I think having those restful days is what just kind of helps you like refocus on the week. I know that's not really balancing, but it helps you to just like not feel as overwhelmed.
Mhm.
For me personally, I don't know what your work-life balance tips are, but I don't really have any.
Goodness, it is hard for me too. I really like what you were saying about getting kind of a grip per se over the weekend because the week is just hard to get that stuff done. For Casson and I always try to set ourselves up for success during the weekend, get the house clean, go to the grocery store, do the laundry, like do those things because I really, really value our space. And I think it's important to have like a clean space, to just have a clean mindset and to have a clean, I guess, because I work from home. So to have a clean office per se. So that's one tip that I would share. And then, goodness, sometimes I get up earlier and start my day and get a few things done. That's kind of one thing that I have really found to be beneficial is I start my day around 7 a.m. in the morning, and just try to get a lot of things done before everyone else kind of gets to their computer and gets up. So I have found that to be helpful. And then if I'm able to step away from my computer a little bit earlier in the evenings, and start dinner or exercise. You made a really good point about not exercising in month. It's hard.
Yeah.
You can easily find something else to do with 30 minutes to an hour of your time. So I would say sometimes I do that as well. And then I've also tried to do just like a little task a day, like starting the healthy habits. Sometimes we talk about doing a little laundry a day or goodness, what are some other ones that I would do? Obviously like make the bed every day. Those ones are easier, but just like those little tasks that like do it now or don't do it at all. I've also seen that like make your bed as soon as you wake up because you're not going to do it later. So little things like that kind of help me balance the day a little bit, but sometimes they just completely get away from me and time gets away. What are some other ones that I do or we do?
Yeah, sounds like you have a lot of good ones. I'm like, I have no idea.
And no, but it's hard. I mean, it's also too, like
It's so hard.
necessarily, again, I hate to talk about the home, but like, I don't say living in an apartment.
No,
Like,
it's so hard. I keep saying that. I'm like, once we're in the home, everything will be good.
but there's some merit to that 100%. Like there really is just
Okay, that makes me feel better.
days. Yeah.
Yeah.
There you go. Encouraging you in that. But
No, but also like it's a transition period, kind of like your verse said. Like it's just this season, and like right now we're just not in that season
yes,
to
exactly.
like. Yes, our home is nice and like taking care of and clean by all means, but like yeah, we have a bunch of boxes in our living room, and like there's not much we can do about that.
Right.
And we have to share an office because there's only one extra room, so it's just like I can't do meetings, you can't do meetings, and like when I need to balance something, you have to balance. Like it's just like everything's in one little spot. So. But I totally agree. Like the small habits definitely add up.
They really
If you're able to get the small things out of the way, yeah, tremendously. It's so true. Like I usually do laundry on Mondays, which I don't really know why I've done that to myself because Mondays are pretty chaotic. But if I am able to do it on Sunday, like it makes the whole week
Doesn't it?
just go a lot smoother. Yeah. So it really depends. But also like I've kind of gotten used to Mondays, and so like it's just that habit now, and it feels not terrible.
Exactly.
Like it's just getting into your rhythm and finding those habits that help you be successful for the week, whether that's like time blocking or, you know, Mondays I focus on this, Tuesdays I focus on that. Just establishing new rhythms, I feel like can change your entire week.
I like the word rhythm. That was good. That was good.
Thank you.
Was resonating with what you were saying about I'm going to do this on Tuesday. Like kind of think through your week and what that looks like and what are on your to-do list per se. And I'm going to designate Monday to cross off, you know, name it. And then Tuesday, I'll get this done. And that helps you not to get so like stressed out about, oh my goodness, I have so many things to get done. Designate a day to do it. And that helps me too.
I feel like I write out my list and there's no like
Such a
prioritization.
list girl.
Such a list girl. But like there's no prioritization or there's no like deadline. It's just like a list. And so I'm like, I have so much. This list is so long. But like in reality, it's like, okay, this can be done in like a week. This could be done in 2 to 3 days. This could be done like next month. Why are you freaking out? Why is it on your list right now? So I think that's been a big changer for me, which sounds like common sense, but when you write a list, it's just different. And I use my Google Calendar a lot, but again, it's just different when you're writing a list and you see it all, you get really nervous. So just again, finding what works for you and trying to balance it the best that you can. But by all means, it's never perfect. And we're not trying to give you the end all be all answer because we don't even know it.
Right.
So these are just our tips and tricks.
Yeah, sure. Just kind of speaking it aloud and letting you know that you're not alone in any of it. They're all super valid feelings.
100%.
Yeah. Well, that was good.
I think so too. I hope that, I don't want to say validated you guys. So we're not trying to make it sound like, you know, you're fine for not being on top of your stuff. That's not what we're saying. But I hope that made you not feel, like Leah said, alone in it because it's such a real thing. Like, yes, you can be on top of everything, but you can also be losing your marbles at the same time. So we'll get
It's
it.
true. It's true. We're in
get
this
better.
together. We're in this life together. We really are.
Yeah.
One day at a time, as the Lord always says. And I try to remind myself, daily bread, daily bread, daily bread. There's enough for today. And just let it be enough. Yeah.
Yeah.
So good.
Perfect.
Well, thank you so much.
Yes, thank you. We'll see you guys next week.
Yes.
Thank you for joining us on the 34 Living podcast today.
We hope you've tasted and seen the goodness of the Lord in today's conversation.
To stay connected, find us on Instagram and YouTube at 34 Living Podcast. We'd love to hear from you.
Until next time, keep living intentionally and growing in faith.
We'll see you soon.